सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्लोका नंबर 50। बुद्धियुक्तो जहातीह उभे सुकृत दुष्कृते तस्माद् योगाय युज्यस्व योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्। Yesterday, after an elaborate understanding of the last 3 shlokas, we came to the understanding that what Bhagavan is providing here is an amazing formula, no magic, nothing as a sudden quick fix, but a definitive method that as a human being, when we live in the field of our actions, that which we cannot avoid, that which cannot be rejected, how does one use that very platform to grow in the right direction? So that is very beautifully put in the 47th shloka, where Bhagavan says, Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturduhu ma te sangostu akarmani. Ma te sangaha astu akarmani. You cannot envision life wherein there is absolutely no actions to be performed. Probably yesterday also we started with the same line. And that can happen only in one condition. And what is that condition? Ram Naam Satya hai. Until then there is action. So our entire life is filled with action. So you can call our life as an action thriller. Tune in the mind to the buddhi, then it can become a romantic action thriller. How you guide, how you direct your own life, you are the director, you are the producer, you are the financier, and you are the one who will be facing the music, however you ordain your life to be. There is nothing that which we can blame, or no one that which we can blame for the present condition that we are in. That is what Bhagavad Gita very clearly states again and again and again. There is no magic wand. There is no sudden, change of course because you have done something intensely for a few minutes. Life and experience has to be faced. The only way to get out of the field of karma bandha is through it, not but away from it. That is the only way. Now, in order to go through it, anyway, you will be dragged even if you don't want to go. When you go through willfully with intelligence beaming forth from the buddhi to take care of that situation, disciplining one's own mind, manaha, because mind loves to be in its own constant comfort zone. And because our mind is such indisciplined, we find that the sadhanas, or that which the scripture is trying to point at, we blame that scripture saying, oh, the Hindu methods are so difficult. It is not that the method is difficult, it is pretty direct. If at all there is anything difficult, it is I, me, myself and I. Uddharet atmanatmanam na atmanam avasadayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhu. So far so good. That your own antakarana is your friend. Who is our biggest enemy? Atmaiva ripuratmanaha. When my mind is indisciplined, such indisciplined mind becomes my own biggest enemy. Therefore, in our ancient ways of life, there was given an amazing extra touch to any student. The first thing that was taught before any serious teaching began is how does one access their own mind? How does one have the ability to control, channelize, and balance one's own mind? That discipline was given instilled right at that young age, having gotten which they are now qualified for the higher learning. Isn't it but natural that when you are gifting a vehicle to your child, as a parent, what is my first responsibility before I gift? To make sure that the child is qualified enough to have safety and good driving abilities on that vehicle, you ensure it. It's not that the child has already reached 18 and you buy them a vehicle. Before you buy, what is it that you have to ascertain? Does the child know how to drive? Does the child know how to drive safely? You wouldn't want to give a vehicle. In US, by 16, the child can go for learner's permit, learner's license. Many parents are scared. It is a very powerful tool. You are giving a car. So many parents are scared. They would say, what is their rush? Anyway, they will learn it by 18 and they will start driving. At least while they are at home with me, they are safe. I will take the responsibility to drop them, pick them. Being a parent is being a glorious chauffeur for our own children back in US. My way of looking at it, which when I speak with the parents, when they come and share this, I tell them that wouldn't you be at more peace knowing that you have already taught that skill before the child goes to the college or university, and you are at peace, you are at balance within, knowing that you have taught it well? Wouldn't it be an added layer of pressure, anxiety on you? पता नहीं क्या कर रहा होगा. Is it safe? Is he driving safe? Is he being cautious? Let them learn it while they are with you so that you can evaluate and teach them the right methods. Similarly, in the ancient ways of life, the first and foremost thing that they focused upon was to teach the child how to access one's own mind. And that not being the focus, by the time the child hits the double digits, 10, 11, there's all kinds of things that now we have branded. ADD, ADHD, OCD, and it goes on. All the alphabets possible. But if you have instilled this, what would the child be introduced to? Just before being joined into Gurukula, the child would be introduced to the Sandhya Vandana, where the major focus is about the Gayatri Mantra and its Japa. Even after having joined into the Gurukula, the teacher focuses on ensuring that the child practices doing the Trikala Sandhya, wherein you are introducing a mantra by your own self-discipline and having the ability to repeat that without any other thought disturbance happening. While you repeat it 108 times, you are gathering that mind and gaining accessibility towards your own mind, having gained which you can now direct it in whichever direction you feel like, where it has to soak that knowledge from. We, the present day modern world that we live in, have we paid any attention to this aspect in our child, we have not paid attention to ourselves. जब हमें कुछ पता नहीं है तो हम बच्चों को क्या सिखाएंगे? This has been completely deleted from our way of life. And the heights of ridiculousness is that procedure which should have been introduced at the age of 4.5, 5 is introduced to that just a few hours before getting married. फायदा क्या हुआ? Because by then the mind has already settled into various habitual patterns, comfort zones. And our greatest enemy is our own comfort zone, that which we develop and refuse to grow out of, even if there is a better way of life taught and shown. We refuse to grow out of our comfort zone. Whether it is eating habits, whether it is sleeping habits, whether it is studying habits, whether it is writing habits, reading habits, skill development habits, we settle into certain comfort zone. And our own comfort zones are the ones that are hindering us from growing. And how can that manas of ours be disciplined? The guiding factor should be our buddhi. Given all the options, the most appropriate decision, direction to be taken, buddhi always suggests. That is how it is constantly gearing towards. But who overrides it? It is our own mind which overrides it. It is like too much of everything given. I find it hilarious when visiting some people's house. Their children have 10 commandments stuck on their door. What is the 10 commandment? It is the instruction to the parents and elders. First commandment, thou shalt not enter into the room without knocking. You will not enter without knocking. I mean, they're all ridiculous 10 pointers. And the reason I laugh at it is, beta tu reh kar raha hai? You are living in your parents' house, being supported by your parents, and now you are putting the restriction to your own parents to do or not do what to do. Our mind is doing that to our buddhi. Mind does not have that capacity and subtlety to override the intellect. But then we have neglected our own buddhi and not strengthened it. It is our responsibility to strengthen our own buddhi. If you have fallen sick, maybe because of viral fever or whatever, you have fallen sick and dehydration, and you somehow come out of that to good health. And after you come to good health, you have to now focus on rebuilding that health which you have lost. Good diet, good exercise, good environment, maybe medication also, so that there is no relapse. Similarly, for our buddhi, where is the rehabilitation ever focused upon? There is no effort absolutely put to strengthen our own buddhi. See, buddhi is the deciding factor. If the buddhi is not given the right feed, would it make a right decision? You take your calculator, 2 into 2, it will spit out the answer 4. Right? Why? When the coding was done, it was given the 0011110, those binaries when it was fed in. The information that went in was 2 plus 2 or 2 into 2 is going to be 4. If the information given itself was wrong, the code will spit wrong answer. And many times we are convinced about our own decision-making power, which may have been from a wrong platform or a baseline. And what is the way to strengthen this intellect? To understand properly the value-based life. After having understood the value-based life, then transforming these values into virtues. Whenever we appreciate something beautiful, something extraordinary in an individual, their value system, we say that person is a virtuous person. So what is the difference between value and a virtue? Value is that which is extolled, which is respected. But when that value is understood, and having understood it, you are practicing into your day-to-day life, that value now being practiced is called virtue. Value is a feel-good factor. Whenever we look at that value in others reflecting in their action, in their thought, in their deed, we will respect it. Having understood it, am I practicing it? The moment I implicitly start practicing it, that value becomes a virtue. Now, by practicing these values, transforming it into virtues, how does the intellect get strengthened? The river and its flow is as strong and good direction as long as the banks are strong. If the banks are weak, the river can go any direction. When river in spate, it can go in any direction. Many times when we are looking at the porous border areas, specifically if the border area is to be decided on a river delta, West Bengal, Bangladesh, one of the largest river delta, Ganga Sagar. On that river delta, why is it so difficult? Because the sedimental soil that is there is so porous that when the river goes in spate, before the rainy season, the river is the one that is deciding which part is in Bangladesh and which part is in West Bengal. The moment there are rains, that border, the river flow decides which side is what. Sometimes it goes 3 to 5 kilometers that side, sometimes it goes 3 to 5 kilometers this side. They have planted, the river shifted its course. Their plantation is, you are reaping the benefit because it is now in this side of the border. Vice versa. If the river's banks are not strong, the river can take any which direction. Presently, the mind is not under control. It is having the capacity to override purely because my intellect is weak. How do I make it more ineffective and weak? By not respecting the decisions that I make. Who is breaking it? The mind, our own mind is breaking the decisions made by our own intellect. I want to wake up early in the morning. Who is decided? My own buddhi has decided. Who breaks it? My own manas breaks it. I have to eat healthy. Who has decided? My buddhi has decided. Who breaks it? My own manas breaks it. Do I need to go over various examples? My intellect understands, overridden with emotions, losing myself to temper is not the correct course of action. Do we not know that getting angry is bad? When do we realize it? Posthumous reality. After the act has been done, regretfully we remember, नहीं करना चाहिए था. Whether it is the field of emotions, field of habits, field of indulgences, field of various kinds of indulgences. The buddhi decides one thing, the mind decides something else. Therefore, this entire field of experience is so vast. Sometimes we sit there understanding what the problem is. To find an appropriate solution becomes difficult and overwhelming because it is spread all across the place. Where do I begin? To the rescue comes Sant Jnaneshwar Maharaj. Some of the beautiful depths and interpretations that he gives in Jnaneshwari is unparalleled. He says, in order to find that disciplined mind, start with your jihva. Jihva, the tongue. Why? It simultaneously is acting as a two-in-one. One, it is an organ of perception. Second, it is an organ of action. Control the jihva, the rest of the organs of perception and action fall in line. What I eat, how much I eat, when I eat, what I should not eat. Keeping a very strict borders for that eating process. But habitually, what do we do? There was a chip packet there. आते जाते the chip packet गायब. Were you hungry? No. Then why did you eat? बस ऐसे ही पड़ा था, टाइम पास हो गया, खत्म. If you have lived in Bombay and if you have traveled in the local trains, which have been there for more than 40-45 years, the local trains, some of the best designed salesmanship you find on that local train. What taglines they come up with. Some fellow was selling lottery, and their tagline that which they use attracts our attention completely undivided to what they are selling. The fellow says, आदमी की कीमत मरने के बाद, लॉटरी की कीमत खुलने के बाद, खरीदिए भाग्यलक्ष्मी बम्पर लॉटरी. समझा पूरा सेंटेंस? आदमी की कीमत मरने के बाद, लॉटरी की कीमत खुलने के बाद. Once you buy it and you hit the jackpot, you will understand the value of it. So therefore, purchase my lottery tickets. Similarly, another thing that they sell is shengdana. Shengdana is mungfali. What do they sell it as? The very tagline for that is time pass mungfali. You have nothing else to do, nowhere else to go. And most of them who use, if you have observed, they are ingenious people, I tell you. You can write volumes observing the traffic in those locals. In the morning, they go with a lunch box. 2-tiered, 3-tiered, 4-tiered lunch boxes. They are coming all the way from Virar to Churchgate, like one end to the other end. When they are going back, just to ensure that they can get the seat, they take the auto not to Churchgate, but one stop before. And they don't go towards Virar. They board the train going towards Churchgate, so that when the crowd gets down, they now have the first choice of where to sit. So that the next 1.5 hour, they have a good seating. Having ensured, what do? Dabbe mein, after they have done their lunch, they wash it. While coming, all the vegetables that are required for tomorrow, In their bag, there is a small cutting board. There is a knife. Each tier has a different vegetable. And one by one, they take it out. All these vegetables, en route, that where they are buying the vegetables, they have an understanding. Bhaiya, dho ke de dena. Washed, cleaned. That they, and while they are doing it, it is an amazing experience to observe. Singer joins at one station. Kartal, the Manjira, he joins in one station. Dholak, Dholki, small, Kanjira type, that fellow joins at one. The entire trip, Dasbodh of Sant Ramdas is chanted while they are cutting the vegetable. And now to them, this fellow who is a salesman selling various things, he has to attract their attention and be selling. So therefore, what is his tagline? Time pass मूंगफली. वो भी कह रहा है, you don't need to eat, you don't have the necessity to eat, but बैठे हो कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो, खा लो कुछ ऐसी टाइम पास. Tongue, eating, we don't have control. Speaking, when to speak, what to speak, how much to speak, how not to speak, when to stop, when to withdraw. See, Hanumanji went all the way to Lanka, saw Sita ji, came back. He knows in his heart of heart that if there is one person who is eagerly waiting for that information, it is Ramji. So as soon as he comes, what is the first sentence that he says? Drashta Maya Sita. Condemn. Saw. भगवान जी, आपने जिस कारण मुझे भेजा है, देख लिया मैंने. I have already seen. Supposing you and I are sent for a particular job, and when we come back, first of all, we as people, we have lost the idea of reporting back as to what you have done, whether it was successful, whether it was not successful, you have accomplished, you have not accomplished, nothing. You have to call them again. हुआ क्या? वो actually ना हुआ नहीं, तो कब बताने वाले थे? This is one end of the spectrum. The other end, वो पता है क्या हुआ? You are like, can you come to the point? Done, not done? After having given that information, then you can elaborate on it. How to speak. And this aspect, this ability of speaking Vakpatutvam of Hanumanji was recognized by Bhagavan Sri Ramchandraji himself, that when he turns to Lakshmana, he is poorly, bad, unnecessarily branded as a very angry fellow. He never got angry because of the discomforts that he had to go through. Whenever there was someone creating a discomfort for Bhagavan, that is when he got angry, not otherwise. As wrongly representing him, saying, oh, he never had control over his anger. So whenever something disturbed Bhagavan, that is when he would not spare them. Such was this situation wherein Sita ji was abducted and they were searching. There were absolutely no clues available. Just the word of Jatayu dying in the arms saying southwardly. Other than that, they had no other clue. And now comes this fellow, Kosi. కహ త్వం అసి కోసి. ఎవరయ్యా మీరు? The instruments that you are carrying, the bow and arrow that you are carrying, doesn't seem like alankara. See, many times people, when they are walking, I see a small stick in their hand. वो लेके घूम रहे हैं, फायदा क्या उसका? There used to be one chief minister. He used to also carry a stick. Just a small short stick. What is the purpose? Is it alankara? It is whatever you are carrying doesn't look like alankara. Why? Looking at your hands keenly, it shows you are expert at using it because there are calluses that are formed, proving that you have used it efficiently. What a keen observer. And asking the most appropriate questions. By then, Lakshmana is already fuming, already getting prepped with his anger. सीता जी खो गई है, रास्ता पता नहीं है, कहाँ है वो मालूम नहीं है, और तू बीच में बक 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 क्या कर रहा है? We are already agitated and somebody is asking unnecessary questions. What do? We are in a busy meeting. The phone rings. And when you pick the phone, they are now hard on selling something to you. Some marketing, some salesman, they are trying to sell. What do? बेटा, मैं मीटिंग में हूं, बाद में बात करें. Do you have the patience for those unnecessary questions? I am so and so with they don't even introduce. Are you so and so? मैं जो भी हूं, तुझे क्यों? पहले तू अपने आप का इंट्रोडक्शन दे. That itself triggers. And do we have any decency? Chup! All the call is cut. Lakshmanaji is in that mode. Knowing that is how Lakshmana will react. Ramji turns to him, pulls him aside, and he says, this fellow, just with those 3 questions that he has asked, you can clearly see with his Vakpatutva that he is no ordinary Pandita. He is a Nava Vyakarana Pandita. How to speak. If we can start the control with the organ of our speech and taste, the rest of the organs can be brought under control. Having said this, in Viveka Chudamani it is said, there are few examples given, 5 examples given. Kuranga, Matanga, Patanga, Meena. Each one of these animals loses its life because it does not have control over one sense organ. The elephant does not have control over its sensation of touch. Especially in the mating season, it is desperate to get the touch of the female elephant. And it is the male elephants that grow the tuskers. So when the poachers have identified the elephant to trap it, what do? They tie a female elephant to a big strong tree, and around it, distance far away from it, around it, they dig trenches. And those trenches have bamboo, sharpened bamboo laid in. Usually, elephant is the most intelligent, most perceptive of all the animals. Any variation in the sound, it can immediately gather. But it is so intoxicated for the touch of the female skin. Buddhi, band. It doesn't function. It rushes in. As it rushes in, it falls into that trench, instantly getting killed. And what do these people do? They cut the tuskers. They don't even put that poor fellow out of its misery. Lying there, rots to death. Each one of these animals does not have control over one sense organ. Is the gravity of the situation understood? Now let us talk about, पता नहीं किसने बोल दिया कि human beings are the zenith of this creation. From what standpoint? Just because the animals cannot advocate for themselves. We claim, right? We are the top of the tier, best of the creation. When we look at our habitual patterns, it doesn't appear so. None of us have none of the organs of perception action under any bit of control. Britishers, while going, taught us one stupid word. Repeat the same mistakes again and again, and when caught, you escape by saying that one word. Sorry, huh? It doesn't cut it. How long will we keep making the same mistakes of falling trap to this indisciplined, structured, or no structured living because of indiscipline? So one, the value system to convert it into virtues. Second, that energy which is being dissipated in through the organs of perception action, where the mind constantly is one with those indisciplined patterns, overrides the intellect, thereby now block all these different avenues of entry-exit points, create that discipline. So here he says, Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrute tasmat yogaya yujyasva yogaha karmasu kaushalam. Buddhi yukto jahatiha. That buddhi which is now strengthened. A weak intellect cannot do anything. And because it is incapacitated to do, what does it do on the other end of the experience? Ridden with a lot of regrets, remorse, guilt, it starts becoming harsh on itself. Papoham papa karmoham papatma papa sambhava trahimam kripaya deva sharanagata vatsala. Therefore, all our Bhagavans that we have in any temple, how are they standing or sitting? What does this hand mean? अरे बाबा रोज का श्लोक है तेरा वो. Every day you come and tell. Papoham papa karmoham papatma papa sambhava. You are repeating the same thing. I know already. I would be happy to know if you have made any improvement. A fellow goes to, Bhagwan Ganesha. Somebody told him, worship him for 41 days. Kshetra Mahima, some temple, worship him for 41 days. Your Sankalpa Siddhi will happen. He is Siddhi Vinayaka. So 41 days he went. Nothing happened. He wanted to win a lottery. So after 41 days, when nothing happened, this fellow protested to that Ganesha. Now Ganesha could not take it any further. He appeared, slapped him one tight. He said, I can bless you with a lottery to be won, provided you have bought a lottery ticket. That Ishvara can also help, provided we have taken an attempt at trying to contain, curtail, direct the disciplined way of life. Otherwise, we only become hard on ourselves. I am good for nothing. Nothing can be done. I achieve nothing. I am a failure. I am a loser. I am destined to be like this. My fate is like this. No, buddhi can be weak, but the choice is ours as to how to strengthen that buddhi. Strengthening that buddhi, buddhi yuktaha. The buddhi is strengthened and now joined with, connected with that buddhi. We all have buddhi. There is nobody that is manufactured by that Ishvara without buddhi. We are staying disconnected with that buddhi. Short circuit ho gaya. Now we have to reconnect buddhi yuktaha. From the platform of buddhi illumined when the mind works in the field of action, buddhi yuktaha, what will happen? Jahatiha ubhe sukruta dushkrute. One wins this battle of the field of action. What is that winning? What is pointed here? Ubhe sukruta dushkrute. The purpose of the spirituality as explained in our scriptures is not just a mere transformation of a feel-good factor of change from being bad to good, from negative to positive. That is not the purpose. That may be an intermediary necessary step, but that is not the goal. What is the goal? To transcend both the good and bad, so that we can experience that which transcends both good and bad and is essentially of the nature of divine. That is the purpose. Do good, what you call, be good, do good is okay. It's an intermediate step, a stepping stone. But crossing over that, the buddhi requires immense amount of strength. Therefore, in the Upanishad language, they say, Atma balahinena na labhyaha. This stability of conscious principle, which is the very core of our being, cannot be attained to by a weak-minded person. That buddhi which is incapacitated to be functional in the field, guiding, directing in the right direction the buddhi and the mind and the organs of perception action, cannot go into the inner world. If the buddhi is a failure in the outside field of world, cannot be successful in the inside field of world. So spirituality, that which we assume, that spirituality is for those who cannot face life. And what is spirituality saying? Spirituality is not for them as well. Those who cannot face life, have been failures in life, They cannot take the shelter of refuge of spirituality and now then feel holier than thou. That is not the way spirituality can be manipulated. The Upanishads clearly say, go back into that field of action, find that balance, then come back and step into the field of spirituality. And this is what Swami Vivekananda ji used to roar. He used to say, I would rather want students that can play on the field football for hours at end and achieve something for them, be introduced to spirituality. It is easier than those who are lethargically wasting their life. Therefore, a right message being given to Arjuna. What is the implication? Today you are trying to run away, giving me all these philosophical approaches or outlook as to why you should not fulfill your responsibility. Arjuna, by doing so, you are actually incapacitating yourself by either the success that would have been there on the outside or the sense of peace and satisfaction in the inside. Both worlds you would have burnt, both bridges you would have destroyed. Therefore, before attempting into the field of spirituality, first pariksha loka and get into that world. Pursue it with enthusiasm. Having seen through personally that which you are searching cannot be given by that world of experience, then your mind is not distracted because of the world. Those who come to the spiritual field should be endowed with a good, healthy amount of vairagya. Spirituality is not a time pass. That which you have in the to-do list. See, going to Tirtha Kshetras, doing some kind of punya karma, donating something, Annadana, visiting Bhagavan, visiting temple, this can be in your to-do list. But the serious spiritual pursuit is not a to-do list. In order to be successful there, in order to even enter into the threshold of that spirituality, one needs to have a good, healthy amount of vairagya. And vairagya is not those three monkeys. I will not see, I will not hear, I will not speak, I will not. That is not vairagya. In spite of the presence of that which could entice me or the absence of which, whichever is the disturbing factor, the presence or absence, in spite of it, my mind stays unimpacted, uninfluenced by it. Why? I've seen the end of it. That which it is trying to entice, it does not have it in it to give me. Therefore, I am least interested in it. Have you bought your children toys as they were growing? I'm sure. That is when you come to understand that girls are different species, boys are completely different species. But then nonetheless, each one has their own different field of toys. How possessive are they to their toys? That every time you have a party, every time you have somebody visiting you, 10, 15 families, usually it is of the same age category, though when you invite them, they come with their chinku, tinku, pinku, minku. Now, as soon as that party opens up, who is the most insecure fellow? Your child. बाप रे, पूरी पलटन आ जाएगी. My toys. So now you as Arjuna, no, you as Krishna, your son or child as Arjuna, you are giving Gitopadesha. These don't come to stay here permanently, O son. As they come, they will leave also. The greatness and the grandeur of you is to be open-minded, large-hearted. Share your toys with them, which we could apply even an ounce of what we are giving message to our children in our own life. Share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is loving. And then all the children ushered into that room, all toys. You have not just started your whatever, party, puja, whatever it is. You hear wireless signals reaching across the room. What is the wireless signal? I'm not talking of the Wi-Fi. The screaming of your children. Each parent has their own specified antenna. Even if there are 10, 15 screaming, you know to identify your child's specific wavelength of screaming. Immediately. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata. You take the avatar into that room. Now what does the child say? My toys. And you are trying to say, yes, they will still be your toys. You are just giving them, loaning it to them for a certain time. And the kid is like the one who owns it. Whichever toy the other fellow takes would claim, that is my favorite toy. Would not share, would not care. Who was asking me this question the other day? I was laughing. I think one of the parents in GMR Vidyalaya, Chinmay Vidyalaya. Like if your child is reacting such, your child is growing healthy. There's nothing wrong with your child. Because the mother was concerned. How do I understand this fellow, my child? He is growing healthy. They have to go through that. Now the same child having gotten to a certain age, the same toys are lying in the cupboard. When another kid comes, it is the same fellow who would give his toys, entertain them, play with them, give them those toys to play with. The presence of it or the absence of it disturbed earlier, because now he has grown, it doesn't disturb. That is called Vairagya. If you still have to close your eyes, shut your ears, and you have to do that extra effort, it is nowhere close to Vairagya. Buddhi is not yet strengthened. The clarity of that Buddhi effectively expresses itself as Vairagya. Am I getting across? Now with this kind of strengthened Buddhi, when you guide the mind towards the field of action to function, you get the opportunity to transcend both good and bad, papa and punya. Why? The cause of this layer of good and bad, papa and punya, is my own vasanas. And these layers of tendencies, when consciously, cautiously guided by the intellect, are expressed through organs of perception, action, functioning through the mind, what is happening? That vasana layer which already exists is getting eliminated. And because you are being alert and conscious, the buddhi is being strengthened with its alertness, clarity, and conscious effort. Further extension of that existing vasanas are not coming back to strengthen the existing ones, thereby weakening all these different layers of vasanas. Now here, one aspect of clarity is necessary. Vasanas can be classified in various categories. One of such useful ways to categorize is those kinds of vasanas which have to be consciously expressed. They are called talents, potential, and skill sets. There are certain vasanas which are of the negative nature. They cannot be eliminated by expressing. They have to be cut short even before they take the ugly head. Even before they can take a form, those negativities have to be uprooted mercilessly. Otherwise, what do people end up saying? Swamiji, that negativity is my vasana expressing. Didn't Bhagavad Gita tell that you cannot bottle up your vasanas? You have to diligently express it. All that I am doing is diligently expressing my vasanas. The clarity should be that that patterns which are of negative nature, harmful nature, they have to be curbed, nip it at the right at that stage, nip it and eliminate it. Krodha is not a vasana that has to be expressed diligently. Krodha is that aspect where you identify that it is going to raise that ugly head. Before it rises, you have to completely weed it out. And the energy that was backing that emotion, rechannelize it for a higher purpose. Am I making that distinction? Skills, talents, potential. Identify them, strengthen them, nurture them, express them with the attitude of seva, with the attitude of selflessness, with the attitude of dedication to the highest. Therefore, when you look at the life of Swami Tyagaraja, they were in utter sheer poverty. And he was completely intoxicated with Rama Bhakti. And that Rama Bhakti from Advaitic standpoint. He was completely into it. The king sends his emissaries with all amazing wealth, precious stones, gold, silver, a lot of amenities sent. His brother, older brother, and his wife, brother's wife, they are happy. At least because of this fellow's songs, now we can be out of poverty, we can be rich, we can be famous. At that point, what does Tyagaraja sing? Nidhi chala sukhama, Ramuni sannidhi chala sukhama. See, when the kirtanas are learned, when the bhajans are learned, when you go to the backdrop of the story of the one that has written it and map it onto their life experiences, they become so much more meaningful. It says, Nidhi chala sukhama, sannidhi chala sukhama. What is more precious? Is this wealth which cannot stay firm? Because my talent is not for to be sold to a king. It has already been dedicated to the highest, and that is Ramji. Nothing less than that. That should be the idea of dedicating one's action. I am not doing it to please another ego. I am not doing it so that I can get favoritisms back, favors back. I am doing it as an act of complete dedication to my Ishtadevata alone. And therefore, what is the next extension to it? That unto who that I am interacting is verily the expression of my Ishtadevata in this form. Because that Ishvara is the very substratum who has created this creation. He himself is expressing, extending and expanding into this creation. Nothing other than him is ever there. So that which is just the expression of that Ishvara, that Paramatma. So whatever I am interacting with, whoever I am interacting with, don't look at it with the charma drishti, from the physical sense of perception. Look at the principle that which is expressing through. That principle is verily that Paramatma. Therefore, me doing it is not to please some ego, but is to dedicate it to that altar of Bhagavan in that individual. Our very act of saying Namaste is that principle. पर क्या करें? Namaste, Namaste, कुछ नहीं समझते. We don't get this principle into action. When thus guided, because now it has to be an act of dedication to the highest who is very close, dear to me. See, when you love someone, how does love express? Gurudev defines it beautifully. You can give without love. When you are frustrated, you can give without love. But loving cannot happen without giving, sharing, sacrificing. So when I am giving, can I give that which is hina, kshina? Just like in Kathopanishad, when the father is trying to give, in dana, the kinds of cows, kinds of things that which have dilapidated, ready to die, can that be called as dana? See, in the ashram, Chinmay Sitaram ashram, as we are building it, people said, Swamiji, we have a lot of things that which we can donate to the ashram. It was told to somebody else, they were quite excited. They said, Swamiji, let's go see, and they are going to send, let us get it. I said, no. Why? Most of the things that which people try to donate, give away, is usually that which they know they cannot use further. Meaning it has gone to such dilapidated levels. It would be easier to buy something newer than getting something which you will end up paying more in trying to repair. The idea of dana, recently I was at somebody's, their girl working there in the kitchen who helps them cut the vegetables and organize, clean up. So the family was, some fruits or something that giving. So she is saying something, discussing with her lady of the house loudly. In the other room, in the dining room, I can hear it. So what is that girl saying? Amma, avani tarvata cut cheyandi. మామిడి పండు పాడైపోతాయి లేకపోతే. And this Amma was like, shh. Just you cannot give something which is about to rot. That is not called giving. She didn't have any malice in her heart, that girl. All that she was seeing was a utilitarian standpoint. It is not because nobody else will touch it, therefore get rid of it. Even about 100 years ago, when the beggar would come to the house asking, it would be considered as wrong for the beggar to even shout, cry, saying, I have come here for begging. First point. Second, whoever has come, that which was prepared, offered to Bhagavan, a portion of it is kept aside for somebody who is going by, who may require food. That food is kept ready for them. What has become now the system? अब बच गया है, कल के लिए खराब हो जाएगा, दे ही डालते हैं. That is not considered giving. And here you are giving and giving to you are offering it to the highest altar. Can that giving be with such low perspective? So whenever the drishti is to give and giving it to the highest altar, the attitude of giving becomes pavitra. Thereby, whatever little bit that I am doing, it now has a finesse of gearing towards perfection. It cannot be something which is looking shabby, bad, inappropriate. It has to be of the highest caliber. With that attitude, when the action is performed, the result of it anyway you get, but having done the best that which the situation is asking, you have uplifted yourself, fulfilled yourself with satisfaction, giving the best of the best. Excelling in excellence is called yogaha karmasu kaushalam. Is the message clear? So simple looking 2 lines, so much to cover, because buddhi has to be covered, then the vasana has to be covered, then the transcendence of the good and bad has to be covered, then understanding the balance in expression as dexterity can be understood. So hopefully all the layers are grasped. Now continuing. Karmajam buddhi yuktahi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantya namayam. Karmajam buddhi yuktahi phalam tyaktva manishinaha. It is like concluding the last 4 shlokas. This is whenever the actions are performed where the buddhi is yoked, guided by the buddhi yuktahi, and phalam tyaktva manishinaha. Whenever they say, drop the karma phala, what do they mean? Drop the doership and the enjoyership. Dropping the doership and enjoyership, phalam tyaktva manishinaha, the intelligent one, manishinaha, janma bandha vinirmuktaha. This enables that individual to reach to that sattvic level, having reached where it becomes easy to attain moksha, which transcends janma, karma, bandha. This cycle of birth and death, you get to transcend. Karma yoga directly cannot give you moksha. Doing good deeds will not give you moksha. But what does it do? With this karma yoga attitude, when we perform actions, the antakarana becomes purified. When the antakarana is purified, we gain two aspects which is evident in our experience. One, there is an internal stability, unshakable stability. Whatever, however overwhelming the experience and the pressure may be, you would not be shaken up because of it. Stability. Second, uncompromising peace within. Both stability and peace. Without having attained the stability and peace, even the worldly enjoyments that come by, we are not in a position to truly enjoy those little enjoyments. I used to see these doctors, engineers, software early in the morning. They don't even have time to eat a proper breakfast. So they have a sandwich on the go. Nowadays, that has started creeping into our culture also. What is it? Where you drive by, grab the coffee, and continue your drive. There is no time to even sit, enjoy the sip of cup of coffee. It is being only shoved in. All that which we are doing is for what? Koti Vidyalu, Koti Kosame. And if that eating you don't have time to cherish, what kind of life are we living? Even the little enjoyments, I don't think we are enjoying it. We are just feeling a sense of security that, yes, this has been accomplished. Did I enjoy it? I don't even know if I have enjoyed it. The aroma, the taste, the smell, the satisfaction, the texture. I'm just taking one example. You take off and want to spend some time with family and friends. There is, you are not there to enjoy. You are caught up in your, they say, wherever you go, the ego follows. The ego may also drop, but these stupid gadgets don't seem to drop. We don't have the moment to enjoy. It is only the person that has some amount of peace within can cherish some joy in life. Okay, if this becomes difficult to understand, let me put a corollary. If your mind is agitated, can you enjoy anything? That is what is being stated from the other side. If you don't have peace, you are not even ready to enjoy. In Vyavahara, in the samsaric way, even that samsara seems to be unenjoyable. I know of people, there is this fellow that amazed. He has all the Carnatic and Hindustani music, both vocal and instrumental, that was released from 1950 to 2020. All the cassettes, discs, you name it, he has it. Many of them, the seal also is not yet opened. So when I had the good fortune to stay in his house, I opened about 20-30 seals, with his permission, of course. I said, can I? That at least one of you is enjoying this, Swamiji. I plan to enjoy this after retirement. तो मैं उनको बिठा के बोला, भाई, that is the age wherein even sitting will become a difficulty, let alone hearing. If you can't take time out to enjoy, cherish that which you are collecting and gathering. He meticulously dusts off that entire area. He has some of the vintage LP players. How beautiful the sound comes. Is it, you have such an, his entire basement is a music lover paradise. Atlanta में रहता है आदमी. Never opened 80% of his collection. You don't even have time to enjoy that which you have gathered. If the mind is at not peace, even the vyavahara cannot be cherished. What alone about the Supreme? What does it assuredly give? Having lived the life of Karma Yoga Siddhanta, you will get two things for sure. One, the Antakarana purifies. Second, you will get stability and peace. And those who are established in that stability and peace, it reflects in the eyes of that individual as fearlessness. Fearlessness doesn't mean becoming a Jackie Chan or somebody who knows karate, 10 people surrounding, that is not fearlessness. I have everything, I have nothing to lose. That solidity from within, that is fearlessness. That wherever I am placed, I have nothing that can disturb me from inside out. Not in a vegetative state. Even those that are in vegetative state, coma state, they also cannot be disturbed. I am not talking of such state. They are in the most conscious state. They are not avoiding the world. They are participating in the world, knowing very well nothing can disturb me, nothing can impact me, nothing can topple me upside down. With that comes that fearlessness that they are functioning. Janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gachanti anamayam. They reach to that beautiful state. We will look into the 52nd and 53rd, but mostly I will be starting from the 52nd and 53rd in the next session, which is the very heart of this Gita, which is the Sthita Prajna Lakshana. Let us quickly look into it. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya srutasya cha shruti vipratipannate yada sthasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhi tada yogamavapsyasi. When Adi Shankaracharya ji says the ladder of rise in spirituality, where in the 9th shloka of Bhaja Govindam he says, Satsangatve Nissangatvam. Nissangatve Nirmohatvam. Nirmohatve Nischalatatvam. In the earlier shloka that we just completed, I am not distracted or impacted by the outside field of world because there is no more moha towards it. That vyamoha is not there. There is no delusion about it. Now for such one, Nischala Tattva. Nischala Tattva, that stability. The one who is endowed with this stability within, Jivan Mukti becomes a reality, not just a vague possibility. So Bhagavan is saying that Yadate moha kalilam buddhir vyatita rishyati. Nirmoha, that moha kalila has been removed. The reason I am going to that Bhajagovindam shloka, so that you can connect the dots. That the same logic again and again will be used across the scriptures. Once that moha is removed, then what you attain is called Nischala Tattva. Nischala Tattva, that unshakable stability from within. That firmness from within. Now when I say firmness, don't misunderstand it as a hardened person. That firmness which has the suppleness to go through anything without shaking its position of understanding. Now when Bhagavan has indicated this, Samadha Vachala Buddhihi Tada Yogam Avapsyasi. Now Arjuna's mind is, see, by the end of second chapter, Arjuna has already started participating in the dialogue. He is no more cribbing. He is no more crying. He has started analyzing, participating, evaluating, trying to grasp and understand. So when Bhagavan points at this Samad Sthiti, Arjuna is like, I think I conceptualize what you are saying, but I don't think I understand it well. Can you explain how this Samasthiti is? So there, Bhagavan goes into such a beautiful narrative. And those 18 shlokas are called Sthita Prajna Lakshana. The one who is having established in this peace and stability, cherishes being the very core of life, the principle. How does it reflect in day-to-day life? That we will see next month, I think from 6th through 13th or something. We will announce it, but it is approximately that Monday we will begin. So we will conclude, and then you can come with your Guru Dakshina, and the prasada will be given outside. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kasyat Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritangamaya, Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.